Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. I've got my rainbows sorted out, and you might notice my voice is a little stronger, which is good. So those steroids have kind of been working a bit. I'm still very wheezy though, and I'm wheezy sitting up, and I'm not quite so bad at the moment because I've had my morning coughing fit, and kind of, it's a bit later on it starts to come over me in waves really. But last night, I mean for the last few nights, I've been sleeping sitting up, which is not great, it's hard. But at least I actually did that in the bedroom last night. I bought one of those ages ago, those fluffy things that you can lean up against, they're kind of like big pillow with arms. And I've never really used it. I was going to use it to crochet and things like that, but I've never actually used it. But now it's coming into its own because I can pad pillows in the right places as well, and it can keep me sat upright while I, although I woke up in the weirdest position because I've slumped down and cramped forward, so I was in this kind of ball of fetal position. I don't know, I wonder I didn't get a stiff neck from it, but at least I did manage to get some sleep, although it was hard dropping off with all the wheeze. But yeah, hopefully it'll kind of get a bit better every day. This is only my second day of taking them. They are weird. I didn't sleep very well. I mean, I was awake for quite a long time. I didn't get that many hours, and I did find it hard to drop off, but the doctor did warn me about that they might, and I took it, I suppose, about 11, which was technically morning but not early. And so this morning I did manage to get them quite early, so I woke up about 8, and by the time I found them it was 9. However, it doesn't hurt quite as much to cough today. It still hurts a bit, but not as much, so that's an improvement as well. So I feel like it is getting there, but I'm really thirsty. I'll can of drink there. I've been in this can cozy of mine for quite some time. It was my illustration, and I've got a feeling it's Fanta. And I don't know about you, but when I've got stuff on my chest, you don't want to drink any orange, so I won't be drinking that. But I was toying with the idea of bringing in a drink, and I, for some stupid reason, didn't. Probably because I've just had a big tumbler of water to take my tablets. I took some paracetamol. I've been looking after Gary because he's also a little bit under the weather. He's nowhere near as bad as me, but I could hear him coughing. And no one else suffers, so he seems to be me. But, it's probably worse with the op that I had, so. And the immunity is completely shot and all of that. Anyway, so I've been taking him out coffee, and I took him out a cold soft drink earlier because he's digging. And oh God, I've got this massive, all the way for the Yana van, I've got this massive hole in the ground, like a trench I've got to walk over. It's quite a step down as well that he's dug out, because obviously he's going to put the membrane down, then he's going to fill it with hardcore, which I don't think we've got, so it's going to stay like that for a while. But hopefully he'll put my stepping stones and stuff back to let me walk on it. And he's going to get that done very soon, so that'll be good. He's got to do it in stages, though. So, really sunny and warm out there today. It's a lovely day, and I've picked the worst time imaginable to be ill because I should be out there enjoying it. Well, I had to wait for the postman, who's now been. So orders are on their way. If you've ordered from me, it's winging its way to you as we speak. So in my square, my second year of granny squares was due to pop up. Well, not due. I'm it's due any day, but I was going to do it today. And unfortunately, where I've been ill, not been able to film the update. I mean, I was in a no fit state to cough and splutter and sneeze and snot all over it. So, and I know that I need stages as well. So, I was at a kind of period where I needed to do an update, and I forgot, and I went on a bit longer, so I got to undo that. Go back and film that. It's only a tiny amount. It's not the frogging of it is not going to hurt me, because I mean, I don't do frogging, you know, if I can get out of it. I don't like to frog. It's like I spent time and all that energy doing that. I don't really want to undo it. But it's not a lot. It's just a marginal amount. And it was the easier round as well, so that makes it easier. So we'll frog it back, you know, a little way. And I'm making another square that I can show you how to blunt off. Blunt off, you know, yeah, to square up. Get rid of the scallopy bits. Anyway, by the time you're listening to this, you might have seen the square anyway, so you won't know. So showing you how to square it up, and then that would be kind of square 2 for the blanket. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, film it after. So I did a little add-on dressed as this, really, that said, you know, sorry, I've not been able to make the project at the moment because of the illness, but I will add it, and I will. So the third one I did a little sneaky peek of yesterday. That's going to be pretty snazzy. So I don't know, this is pretty cool. I like doing it, but it is difficult to think of who wants to just make 20 million blankets. All right then, 52. But you know what I mean. I need to kind of come up with projects. You know, that talking, it's making me out of breath. But at least I'm not quite as bunged up as I was, and I feel like it's a little bit on the mend. How strange. We had this one yesterday with cuddling little Groggy, and there is Groggy. Looks like it remembers me. How much do you want for it? Just kidding, but not really. You know, if this thing ever divides or buds, I will gladly pay you for the offspring. And that's Pell Motto, who was cuddling him, and that's what she says. See, she's a bit of a Grogu freak too. Anyway, I recently have been persuaded by a couple of people, my niece Sarah mostly, to start TikToking. I have been TikToking before. I uploaded some shorts because I figured that TikTok was just shorts. But no, you can have quite long form videos on there. That's why I think YouTube tried that created shorts to kind of seal their place. I feel like I'm getting jowls. It's got really dry now. That's going to hurt. Anyway, don't get distracted by your jowls again. That's better. We'll talk like this. So, yeah, TikTok. I've been kind of uploading some of my old videos to it. And while I was in the process of doing that, and I've always tried to make sure I've got the right-handed, left-handed versions of stuff. My standalone circle in the square, which is really good for Easter and spring projects. I noticed I only had the right-handed, and I know why, because I made a cowl with it. So I figured I probably didn't need that at the time. So I've made the left-handed, which I'm 46 minutes left of my upload. I don't know why, but when I do them through that, it really takes ages, because it's iMovie. Oh well. And it might be because I was uploading a TikTok at the same time. So yeah, the left-handed version of that will go up. So I'll link the right-handed to it so that you can always grab it if you need be. Although it's been there a while. Okay. Okay, this one. Back to school for them. And back to filling out the back to school forms for me. At verbs PR rudest. At verbs are prudest. I don't know what that means. And really, who among us needs a Pulp Fiction adrenaline shot to the heart when your kid can just grab your ankle in the middle of the night? Kids are scary. 20 years from now, my kids are going to ask where all their baby pictures are, and I'll point to a shoebox filled with my old phones. That is very true, isn't it? I mean, when my kids were young, you know, we did actually go and put the you take, and my other half then, he was into the photography, well, sort of, and he He had an SLR camera, a DSLR, an SLR camera in the beginning. And he used to do his own developing in black and white. But then he we'd send the film away, anticipating these amazing pictures when they come back, to find that the one we've been waiting for was blurry. You know, it was so annoying, wasn't it? And I think it depended a lot on where you sent them as well, what you got. Because you remember True Print? Does anybody remember that? I remember when that first came out, and suddenly it didn't cost £8 to have your film developed anymore. It was £1.99. So everybody was sending them off to True Print and getting, oh, you know. And I started to think, how can our pictures have gone rapidly downhill like that? It has got to be their film. It's got to be their processing. So, but, you know, they're still kind of now inexpensive places to send it. Free Prints, I think, is probably the one that I've used in the past. But who has film in their camera anymore? Even SLR cameras are DSLR. So you've got digital. And the trouble with that is you don't print them out, do you? Unless you really, really want to. But I did go through Free Prints, and I used to pop on all the pictures that I wanted and get them to send me photo books and packets of photos. And then you stick them in the drawer, don't you? It's like, now they're all on phones. And the trouble is, if something goes wrong with that, you've lost it all. And it's quite scary, you know. Anyway, but it's very true, that. And the other thing is that kids are scary. It can be. And one thing that always reminds me is when we were having our house built. Sounds posh, but it was an estate that we were building, and we were late with it, so it put us in a hotel. And we were at the Hilton. I know it sounds very posh, but we had in our rooms 2 king-size beds. It was quite unusual back then. So both the boys had a king-size bed to themselves. And they didn't like the idea of sharing a room. But nobody wanted to share a room with their dad, because it's not so bad. But anyway, there we were. And Paul just came in one morning and he went, do I have to sleep in the same room as him? And I said, oh, Mike. And he said, yeah. And I went, why? He went, he's really scaring me. I said, why? He said, well, he was asleep. And he just sat bolt upright in bed and went, oh yeah, Shane, come on then. And then he sort of lay back down again. I said, no, he was probably having a dream. But obviously there was this boy in his class who was there's this boy, and he knew him from nursery and school and every aspect of life. There seemed to be this kid, and he was one of those kids that, you know, when they were at playgroup and we went on a trip, he kicked all the animals. One of those kids. But he wasn't particularly good at fighting. He was just very good at annoying. So he got in a lot of fights that he lost, basically. And it wasn't, and the mum made things 10 times worse, because we used to go to the same karate group, not me and her and the kids. So I would sit and watch my boys and wait for them, and she would give me dirty looks the whole time we were sitting there. Because obviously he'd go home and say that Paul did this, Paul did that, Paul did this, and she would believe him. And even though we was in a park one day, and she was pushing a little girl on the swing, and he was a toddler, you know, in a nursery, and he was calling her a C word and an F word. He was just ranting at her, and she was ignoring him. She'd obviously heard the best way to deal with this is to ignore it. It'll go away. Didn't go away. He just got worse and worse and worse. Anyway, when they were in a football team and kids from different schools suddenly started appearing, we went to a presentation, and he was there, and a woman whose son was in a totally different school, I didn't realise would ever know them, they got into a massive fight about him because he was obviously doing the same sort of thing to her little boy Stuart, and it just went crazy. I mean, but I did put a stop to it. I did my usual, you know, looking after everybody, and because Stuart's mum was very gobby, but I don't think she had much to back it up, so I kind of gave them the evil, and I didn't really say much, but they all sat down and behaved themselves after that. It was quite funny. I just had this, I don't know, don't mess with me aura, which You call me old-fashioned. I really enjoyed that. I hate blowing my nose in front of you guys. But, you know, at the same time, I didn't know it was your turn. I know that's not funny. Okay, it is, you know. But yeah, strange family, strange kid, strange mother. And she never said anything to me at judo or karate. I mean, she just used to stand there. I'd sit there and gulp at me. So I used to sort of make my presence a little bit more widely known. You know, not shrink into the corner, but, you know, sort of like, no, I'm here and you're going to deal with it, sort of thing. She never said anything to me. She probably, like I said, had this aura. I had this aura of, like, don't mess with me or else. And so she never, ever did mess with me. Thank goodness. But, weird lot. And I think he's, you know, true to form. He's been in lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of trouble. But, yeah, weird, isn't it? You know, what you remember through one little comment in a book. But yeah, come on then, Shane. All right then, Shane, come on then. And then he lay down. Strange kids. Yep, definitely the strangest. But yeah, and then, you know, they are scary individuals. I can remember as well. I had this eerie kind of thing happen to me, and it made me very wary in this particular house where I lived. And Paul was potty training, and he wanted to go to the toilet, and it had just got dark, about 5 o'clock, and he said, I need to go to the toilet. So I went, go on then, you know where it is. And he went, oh, you've got to come with me. And I said, why? He said, because there's a man up there. And I said, no, there's not. Just go to the toilet. He went, there's a man up there. And you've got to come with me. So I said, Dad will be home in a minute, just hold it. There's such a whim. I whipped out. It was like, why did he say that? Why do kids say things like that? There's a man up there. It's like, there's not a man up there. But, weird. Yeah, I miss those days though. I do miss it when the kids were little. Never a dull moment really with my lot. Especially Michael. He was always in trouble with some sort of kid or something, you know. Oh, he ain't changed much, to be honest with you. He's responsible for every single one of these grey hairs. Every single one of them. That's for kids for you. But anyway, yeah, I did kind of, you know, I miss the photograph thing though. Especially, you know, you get the odd one, wouldn't you, where you'd look half decent, and then you'd look and one of your kids has got a red eye, or they'd be closing their eyes at the wrong moment, like having a blink. It'd always be something. And then you think, to stop that happening, you take 5 of that particular shot. And every single one of those 5 would be rubbish. Or something, you know, now he's looking away. Now that one's blinking. Oh my God, we've got red eye. You know, and then you get those cameras that strobe. And everybody just goes, whoa, you know. So now they look all startled. And it was, yeah, never mind. Good fun back in the day. Do you know it's like things that, simple things like that new generations of people have no clue, do they? They don't know what we suffered and all the things that went on. It's like, you know, when I look back at things on the TV, for instance, I watched Belfast, the film, and I was looking and I thought, oh my God, that's a snapshot of, okay, it was Northern Ireland, they're playing out on the streets. But that was probably me playing out on the streets in those clothes in North London, where I lived, you know. And the haircuts and the shoes and the crazes. Do you remember those Kanaka things that used to do that? And the balls would break your wrist, you know, and all those things. You know, the stylophones. All those kind of weird things that kids these days have no idea about. Roller discos are back. They are. They're a thing. You won't be doing it. No. I wasn't good at it in the first place. Probably because the skates we had at the time were just atrocious unless you paid a fortune. Or you were just, you know, very, very tall and good at it. I always had those horrible ones that the wheels didn't move very well. Well, they could, like, we used to have these ones called Jacko. And then there were Kilo, Jacko or Kilo, but they didn't spin, you know. And you would, like, have to really push to get to wheel along. And they didn't really go very fast. And sometimes you'd stop abruptly and almost pitch yourself over the neighbour's fence or something. Certainly couldn't do a turn or a swirl or go round. You couldn't dance in them. You couldn't even walk in them. Stupid things. And then a friend of mine said, do you want to try my inline skates? I nearly killed myself. They were only made of wood. Can you imagine if they were actually spinneroonie ones? But they were made of, couldn't stand in them. Couldn't even stand up without falling over. And that was two. Balanced on two wheels. That was, and I've been ice skating and I managed to stay up, but the wheelie ones, and they're wider, couldn't understand that. Had no balance whatsoever. Anyway, I really babbled away in the corner about total and utter rubbish today. Must be the steroids. That's all I could. Must be the steroids. Anyway, so yeah, so now I've given you an insight into my kids' childhood weirdness and all the lovely things that we used to have to put up with when we were young parents. Oh, I need to lay down now. Actually, I don't, because I just wheeze worse, but you know what I mean. I need a cup of tea and sit on my recliner chair like a true old lady. I don't know. Go and sit on my chair. Do a bit crochet. Yeah. Sounds like a plan. And I can't really got to upload all my videos and do all the stuff. And hopefully my left-handed circle in the sand has actually, no, 24 minutes left now. It's really poor, the internet around here. Anyway, thanks for watching. And I will hopefully be a lot better tomorrow. And I think it's going to be a bit of a lingerer. You know, this kind of, no idea why I was so wheezy. Must have been really constricted in there with all the stuff on your chest and the swelling and everything else. But interesting noises I made, that's for sure. Take care, everyone. I'll see you on the next one. And bye for now.